We apologize, folks. It was my misunderstanding. There is no school. So Carla is not able to be here. My misunderstanding. I apologize for those who tune in to see Carla's Corner 8:30 on Thursdays. We apologize for that. So what we're going to do is go with the 12 seconds, the one from Rahm Emanuel. Okay, we're talking about the Parkland shooting, what the media is trying to do, NRA. We do know CPAC's going on. Do that for me, okay?
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste. And what I mean by that, it's an opportunity to do things that you think you could not do before.
It's an opportunity to do things you think you could not do before. You never let a serious crisis go to waste. A full quote, you never let a serious crisis go to waste. And what I mean by that, it's an opportunity to do things you think you could not do before, like take your guns, like gun control, okay, is by Rahm Emanuel, former White House Chief of Staff under President Obama. This reflects the thinking of Saul Alinsky, who wrote Rules for Radicals. Rules for Radicals is the default position of the president. The president and Emanuel operate under. Rules for Radicals is what they operated under. If you understand this, it will be easier to analyze everything they say and do. Here's the template, okay? Here's the template. Use a tragedy as a crisis or create a crisis where none exists. Now, when they yell about solving school, let me get to the other ones. Paint the crisis with as much emotion as possible and throw logical analysis out the window. Throw logical analysis out the window. 3, propose the one and only solution to the problem, which just happens to coincide with what you wanted to implement for many years. Now, this is the plan. Paint anyone who opposes your one and only solution as evil. You hearing any of this, Amanda? Okay. NRA as evil. Uncaring. NRA, uncaring. Not smart enough to understand the nuanced brilliance of your solution, or in the pockets of you pick the evil entity, NRA. Force the solution on the people by any means, whether legislative, by executive order, or through the legal system. Legislative, executive order, or the liberal courts. When the unintended consequences of your solution rear their ugly head, use them as a reason for more brilliant solutions to the made-up crisis. Did that parallel anything we're seeing? How about this? I read that. Here's the template. That's the template for Rules for Radicals. Let's watch the piñata. Let's watch this kid. What's this kid's name again? I forget the kid's name. Not Sinead O'Connor. I've called her Sinead O'Connor so many times. Okay, but these kids are scripted. Okay, so let's play the one that uses Rubio as a piñata and fits the template here. Let's play that for you on CNN last night.
By the way, his name is Cameron Kasky.
Yeah, Cameron, Anderson Cooper's friend.
It's hard to look at you and not look down the barrel of an AR-15 and not look at Nicholas Cruz. But the point is, you're here, and there are some people who are not. And I need to ask 2 things of you. Number 1, Chris Grady, can you stand up? This is my friend who's going to the military. I need you to tell him that he's going to live to make it to serve our country. And then we'll get to the other one.
Not only are you going to live to serve our country, you and all of you have a chance to change our country. Change not just our laws, but the way we talk about our laws. So absolutely.
Thank you. And guys, look, this isn't about red and blue. We can't boo people because they're Democrats and boo people because they're Republicans. Anyone who's willing to show change, no matter where they're from, anybody who's willing to start to make a difference is somebody we need on our side here. And this is about people who are for making a difference to save us and people who are against it and prefer money. So, Senator Rubio, can you tell me right now that you will not accept a single donation from the NRA in the future? I wish I could have asked the NRA lady a question. I wish the NRA lady I could have talked to, because I would ask her how she can look in the mirror, considering the fact that she has children, but, you know, maybe she avoids those.
What was that? I'm sorry?
I don't freaking know.
That's okay. The question is about NRA money.
So, number one, the positions I hold on these issues of the Second Amendment, I've held since the day I entered office in the city of West Miami as an elected official. Number two, no, the answer to the question is that people buy into my agenda. And I do support the Second Amendment. And I also support the right of you and everyone here to be able to go to school and be safe. And I do support any law that would keep guns out of the hands of a deranged killer. And that's why I support the things that I have stood for and fought for during my time there.
NRA money? More NRA money?
That is the wrong way to look. First of all, the answer is people buy into my agenda.
You can say no.
Number second, well,
Guys,
the influence of any group,
we're going to be here all night.
The influence of these groups comes not from money. The influence comes from the millions of people that agree with the agenda. So the millions of Americans that support the NRA and who support gun rights groups.
Senator.
Guys, if you...
Cameron is having a conversation with Senator Rubio. Let's let them talk.
Listen, I respect... You can ask that question, and I can tell you that people buy into my agenda. I will answer any questions you guys have about any policy.
Right now, guys, be quiet. You know. And
I just think that ultimately that is not our goal here. Our goal here is to move forward.
Wait, so hold on. So right now, in the name of 17 people, you cannot ask the NRA to keep their money out of your campaign?
I think in the name of 17 people, I can pledge to you that I will support any law that will prevent a killer like this.
No, but I'm talking NRA money.
No, because...
matter of fact, I bet we can get people in here to give you exactly as much money as the NRA would have.
But it's not. I understand. And you're right.
Can you stand up and donate to that real quick? Okay, not a lot, but we'll get it. I'll do it.
You're right about that.
Quite a bit of money so far.
Well, you're right about that. There's money on both sides of every issue in America. And where that leaves us in policymaking is to look at the issues and make a decision based on what we think is right. But ultimately, look, the First Amendment is as important as the Second. And therefore, you have every right to ask that question of me, and I'm here to tell you that I will stand for the things. Are you going to be accepting
money from the NRA in the future?
I've always supported, I will always accept the help of anyone who agrees with my agenda. But my agenda is, I'll give you a perfect example.
Your agenda is protecting us, right?
Well, I'll give you an example this very evening. I have told you that I support lifting the age from 18 to 21 of buying a rifle. My understanding, as before I walked out here, is that that organization is not in favor of that. But I think that's the right thing to do. I don't know what their position is on teachers being armed, but I don't think they should be, because that's what I think the right thing to do is. When I offered my bill to restrict people on the terrorist watch list or that have been on the list for the last 10 years from purchasing a weapon, they didn't take a stand. I don't think they certainly didn't support but I offered it. I will do what I think is right. And if people want to support my agenda, they're welcome to do so, but they buy into my ideas. I don't buy into theirs.
Okay, so I knew that was going to happen. NRA, please just keep the money out of Rubio, okay? If he wants to run again, you guys
can. Thank you, Cameron. Appreciate it.
So, Amanda, let me ask you a question. This is a test. I should have told you that there would be a test after this video. I don't want to pinpoint it, but how many spots? Now, I read, and I know when I read, I've gotten comments before. I've gotten negative comments about me reading, okay? I've gotten negative comments about, but when I read the template of Rules for Radicals, in that video, how much of that template for that did you pick up? Did you pick up you find and you isolate the AR-15? Mm-hmm. Okay, NRA.
I think what I picked up mainly out of it was the NRA, to keep the NRA out.
Keep the NRA out of his campaign. NRA. Now let me ask you a question. This is putting you on the spot because actually you gave me this number very quickly the other day. Did you hear this kid say, in the name of 17 kids? Right?
Yes.
You heard that over and over, right?
Yes.
In the name of 17 kids, could you keep the NRA's money out of your campaign, right?
Yeah.
How many kids a day are aborted?
887 babies are aborted one day, one per every 90 minutes during opening hours.
So 800, and so he's asking for 17 in the name of 17, okay? And the NRA receives no federal money. They receive no federal money, is my understanding, none whatsoever. None. But Planned Parenthood, we cannot defund. Remember, your politicians, okay, your elected officials promised to defund Planned Parenthood. And every time we talk about defunding Planned Parenthood, what do we hear from our politicians? We've gotten one step closer, okay? But we don't defund Planned Parenthood, okay? They get federal funding. And they also are political. Planned Parenthood runs advertising, political advertising. They support candidates. I'm just saying, don't you find it interesting that these kids... Go ahead. Were you going to say something?
It's, you know what, this reminds me of this video, because the way that they just attacked, it looks innocent because it's, kids trying to, make a movement, like you said, it's the 1960s all over again. But this was so ridiculous. It's like, do you ever read The Lord of the Flies?
No.
Where the kids try to govern themselves?
Okay, yeah, all right, I know what you're talking about, but I understand. All right.
It's just so ridiculous watching. Like, is this really what CNN has come to? Like I told you behind the set, they are being used as liberal vessels, and they're taking a bunch of loud kids and pinpointing situations that have, like you said, there's no tax contributions or anything to the NRA. What the issue needs to be pushed about Planned Parenthood. Why is that not an issue?
Quit banging the table. You're going to scare the viewers. She's getting all worked up over there.
I'm serious, people.
I know you are. All right. Okay, now wait a minute. Okay, here are the things that I like to break down, and I want you to listen for. This is not red and blue. Remember that. This has been written. Now, did you notice? Now, I know people are going to say, "No, wait a minute, BKP, you're going too far with this." No, I believe they manipulate. I believe they're mind control. I believe it's rules for radicals. I believe it's the deep state. I do believe a crazy kid walked in Parkland High School and killed 17 students, and it's a tragedy. I believe what happened after that is a disgrace, okay? And CNN that looked like a Jerry Springer. What do they do when the kids are yelling at Jerry Springer and then they start hooting, right? And the audience goes crazy, okay? Now, notice he said this is not a red and blue. Be careful, folks. I want you to write that down because the kids, okay? This is going to be Rock the Vote like you have never seen Rock the Vote. MTV, Rock the Vote, this is it. It's not about red and blue. Watch that. That will be a slogan that's being used. It's not about red and blue. They are writing professional manipulators out there that know how to prey on the mind to get something to stick in your brain. It's like the song, you don't realize why the hell you're singing it, okay?
I want to say something about that too.
Go right ahead.
In school, you know, because I went to school for psychology, there is, people don't realize too, there are consumer psychologists. And the biggest companies out here, they have like people like Axe, people like Old Spice. They specifically hire psychologists to appeal to sex, politics, or whatever, you know, political agenda, especially these news companies. Don't you think CNN has bukus of consumer psychologists as well?
Consumer psychologists. Consumer psychologists. That's exactly right. They do. And you are the consumer that they are trying to manipulate and sell the Tide Pod to. Okay? They are trying to sell you the Tide Pod. It's not the fact that somebody walked in. The tragedy is just that. Okay? The solution is out there. But the fact of consumer psychology with AR-15, weapons of war, okay, this is not a weapon of war, okay, and this is not about red and blue. Somebody has done the testing, and they've written this for all these kids. NRA, accepting money from the NRA. How could you look in the mirror? How can the lady from the NRA look in the mirror? When I look at you, I see an AR-15. It's like I'm staring down the barrel of an AR-15. And did you notice how comfortable he was holding the mic, walking the stage? I mean, I got to tell you something. Now, Amanda, let me tell you. Have you ever, let me see, where the hell am I at here? You know, public speaking is right up with top fear.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I mean,
we you know, not you, but even we in the studio, we get nervous around the camera when it's not even on.
We're not. But no, seriously, if you go and look at the top fear people have, I don't know, I forget, but there's like the 5 top fear, the top 5 things that people fear the most. Public speaking is like maybe even above death, okay? Public speaking. Have you noticed these kids just let it roll? I mean, huh?
It's scripted.
Yes, they let it roll. It doesn't fear, no fear of them. Okay, now let's go to the Sinead O'Connor video. You got that one? I call it Sinead O'Connor. Now wait a minute, what I want you to pick up in this. These kids are not distraught. Who was that last kid?
It was Cameron Kasky.
Cameron Kasky. Now, these kids are not distraught. They're not broken up. Cameron's not upset. He's not hurt. He's not grieving, okay? The people grieving were with the President of the United States, not these people. Why Marco Rubio got used last night in this setup, I don't know. But let's go to Sinead O'Connor. What's her real name?
It's Emma Gonzalez.
Let's go to Emma Gonzalez. No, I sent you a video that said no. I sent you a video that I said had to be done in 1 hour, and you got it? Yeah, let's go to that one.
I want to bring in right now Senior Emma Gonzalez. She has a question. She has a question for Dana.
First of all, I want to thank Mr. Foster for teaching us everything we learned. I could not have written that speech without you. Half of that was like directly from notes, and I want to thank you for that. Second of all, oh, I had a thing I was going to say. Happens to the best of us. All right. Dana Loesch, I want you to know that we will support your 2 children in the way that you will not. The shooter at our school obtained weapons that he used on us legally. Do you believe that it should be harder to obtain these semi-automatic and weapons and the modifications for these weapons to make them fully automatic like bump stocks?
Well, first off, Emma, I want to applaud you for standing up and speaking out. And for anyone who has ever criticized you or any of these students up here, including people who have been on my side of this issue, I don't think that anyone should deny you your voice or deny you your position because you are young.
We want to thank you for that.
I was a very politically active teenager, and I'm on this stage as a result of that. Think of how far you all could go as a result of voicing your beliefs. Now, I want to answer your question, and I want to be allowed the opportunity, which is why I am here, to talk and have this discussion with you all and answer these questions. This is why I came down here. I don't believe that this insane monster should have ever been able to obtain a firearm, ever. I do not think that he should have gotten his hands on any kind of weapon. That's number one. This individual was nuts. And I, nor the millions of people that I represent as a part of this organization that I'm here speaking for, none of us support people who are crazy, who are a danger to themselves, who are a danger to others, getting their hands on a firearm. And we have been for over 20 years, and I have been screaming about this, which is why I'm here, because I have kids, and I'm not just fighting for my kids, I'm fighting for you, I'm fighting for you, I'm fighting for all of you, because I don't want anyone to ever be in this position again. I want everyone to think about this for 1 second. This goes right into your question. Do you know that it is not federally required for states to actually report people who are prohibited possessors, crazy people, people who are murderers? No? We've been actually talking about that for a long time. Let me answer the question. Let me answer the question. You can shout me down when I'm finished, but let me answer Emma's question. It is not federal law for states to report convictions to the NICS system. It's not federally mandated. That's the big question, and I wish that this network had also covered this more as other media networks would have covered it. That's a huge, wait a second.
You guys, if I can't hear her statement, I can't come up with a rebuttal. Please.
Wait a second. Do you guys want to stop mentally insane individuals from getting firearms? You better not get one now. Yes? They have to be in the system. If they are convicted, you can convict them, you can adjudicate them mentally unfit. If a state does not report it to the National Crime Information Center, when you run that form, this madman passed a background check. How was he able to pass a background check? He was able to pass a background check because we have a system that's flawed. The Sutherland Springs murderer was able to pass a background check because the Air Force did not report that record.
I think I'm just gonna interrupt you real quick and remind you that the question is actually, do you believe it should be harder to obtain these semi-automatic weapons and modifications to make them fully automatic, such as bump stocks?
Well, I think the ATF is deciding about bump stocks right now. The president ordered the DOJ to look into it.
I'm asking your opinion as a representative of the NRA.
That's what the NRA's position has been. The NRA came, I'm talking for them. These are the 5 million members that I'm here representing. That is what that group's position has been on that. So that answers your question. And they spoke about that before the president made a move, and they spoke about that before Attorney General Jeff Sessions made an announcement about that too. So that answers your question with that.
Just to interject for a second though, and I understand you're standing up for the NRA, and I understand that's what you're supposed to do. But you just told this group of people that you are standing up for them. You're not standing up for them until you say, I want less weapons. These people want 3 things. And I come here tonight with 39 years in law enforcement. I've Baker-acted people. I've taken weapons from people. The men and women I've worked with for almost 40 years. We know how to keep America safe. Number one, we have to, you're right, we have to take weapons out of the hands of people that suffer from mental illness. We have to expand the Baker Act. We have to be able, when police encounter someone, Emma, when police encounter someone who is going through a mental illness, we don't only have to wait, or we shouldn't have to wait until they are a danger to themselves or someone else. We should be able to take them to an institution that's going to examine them and take weapons away from them right then and there at that time.
And Sheriff, you're a member of the NRA, yes? No, you're not a member of the NRA. I want to bring in Diane Wolk-Rogers, who teaches AP World History.
He's not a member of the NRA. No, he's not. The sheriff, you're not standing up until you say you want less weapons. Emma Gonzalez didn't know what to do when she actually had to confront an intellectual debate. She had no idea which way to go when the little strip of paper that she had to read her sentence off of actually did get an answer from the NRA, but it was not the yes and no, so she went back to it. The couple of things I'd like for you to notice is the major applause and also the speech she gave. You remember Mr. Foster? Did you hear Mr. Foster?
I did.
She thanked Mr. Foster. I could not have written that speech without your help, right?
That's right.
We said that on day one, the very day it came out. Who wrote the speech for this kid, right? That's what we said, all right? Who wrote the speech for this kid? She had to read the question, the information, she couldn't handle the debate. And what the lady with the NRA was trying to say, and I forget her name, I didn't pull her name up.
It's Dana Loesch. And
what's her name?
Dana Loesch. She's a spokeswoman for the NRA. And personally, before you start that, I think she did amazing. She told her cool.
Well, yeah. She said, if you invited me here to talk, let me talk. But the thing is they did not want to hear that no matter how many laws you put in place and no matter what you do, okay, if you don't put the information into the system, a background check is irrelevant. And the breakdown in the system that the government fails at everything they try to do is not being addressed. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what we want to do is we want to pile on more things for the government to do that they fail at. We're going to take a brief break. We're going to come back. We're going to look at the president's side just a little bit. There's only one or two clips I pulled out, but he actually had an unscripted listening session that was very good, and this will be the president that addresses gun violence in schools. Maybe we can use Marines. Is that what Trump said? Retired Marines. Maybe they can go in. They're already trained. Wow. They didn't want to hear that. I'm your host, BKP. We'll be back right after this message. These messages. This discussion is not over.